Hi, I'm Danielle Lenard.
And I'm John Dave Lenard. Welcome to the Lenard Team Connections.
Today, we are very lucky to have a chance to talk to Mary Pat Grafstein, the Executive Director of the Smithtown Industry Advisory Board. We have so much to get to on that.
Yeah, I'm so glad that she was a yes. So let's get started. First, here is some Long Island good news.
Yesterday was phase 2. What did you do to celebrate? JD, it looks like you got a haircut.
Yes, finally. After how many months? I think my last haircut was my last haircut was before February, I think. January, maybe it was in January, February. So I held out. There were so many times I wanted to just like take a razor, but I held out. I'm glad I did. Yesterday was phase 2 and I celebrated with a haircut. What did you do?
I showed houses.
Yeah, finally.
Houses. I did a video tour for like a real a professional video to launch a listing that we've had through COVID. So I'm super excited about that.
But the bottom line is you're able to do these things not virtually, in person, right?
Yes.
Right. Wow. All right. Well, leave us some comments, by the way. What did you get up to yesterday in phase 2? Did you go out to a restaurant? I saw awnings out. Like I was driving up 25A heading out yesterday, and I saw a couple restaurants with awnings and tables outside. Did you hit up your favorite restaurant? What did you get up to? Anyway, in some other good news.
Pictures of people going to restaurants yesterday on Facebook.
Yeah.
So let us know what you did.
Some Long Island schools are beginning to plan smaller in-person graduations for high school seniors this summer. Cuomo will allow up to 150 people if outdoors and distance. But you know, there's a hope that the number will increase as time goes on and cases continue to decline.
So after all the
hopefully,
work, it's still not enough. News 12's Logan Crawford has the details as we continue our team coverage.
It's the last big thing.
For the class of 2020, high school graduation will be a very different experience because of New York pause. Traditional ceremonies were canceled because of the pandemic.
It was kind of like hurtful to see because every year you see seniors graduate.
Valley.
So hopefully we do get more graduation for all the seniors out there. But in the meanwhile, it's strawberry season on Long Island. Local farmers are saying that cool nights in May have brought them in later than usual. But family picking is available at many farms, including Patty's Berries and Bunches in Mattatuck. The season will only be 3 to 4 weeks, so farmers are urging those interested to take advantage now.
Welcome back to News 12 Long Island. I'm Doug Geed. Strawberries are back at East End Farms.
The strawberries are unreal. When you pick them fresh, they're delicious.
The return of what's a favorite fruit.
Okay, New Jersey resident Greg Daly hasn't been able to operate his frame shop due to coronavirus. But since late March, he has made over 500 trips to the grocery store for senior citizens in his community for free. His whole family has gotten involved. They have a spreadsheet to track deliveries, and they've worked every day since March, except, of course, Easter.
What I love about that story is how they took their time, and the seniors of all, like they still don't want to go out. And even though many of us can come out in phase 2, you know, a lot of the seniors really need to be careful. So, you know, things like that are just so awesome.
Yeah. Cool. If you have any good news stories from around the island, share them in the comments below. We would love to feature all the good things that are happening, especially now. You know, there's lots of bad news out there, and, you know, we're dealing with it. We're getting through it, but there's also always good that is happening out there in the world, and that's what we want to bring to you. So if you know people doing good things, if you have any good stories, share away.
That brings us to our guest, Mary Pat Grafstein, who is the Executive Director of the Smithtown Industry Advisory Board, also known as the IAB. They connect high school students with local businesses in a program that is mutually beneficial.
Good morning. Hi, guys.
Hey,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Here.
Great. Thank you for having me today. Appreciate it.
So, Mary Pat, you are the work experience and internship coordinator in Smithtown Schools. Your work with the IAB not only brings together students, but also businesses in the community. And I just want to talk to you today. Danielle and I really were looking forward to, with the changes, everything that's happening, how that, what it was before for people that didn't know IAB and its existence, and then plans for going forward. So thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for calling attention to the IAB. Sometimes we call it the best kept secret in Smithtown. It is an advisory board that is connected to our school district. We are 43 years old. Wow. We are the oldest and largest advisory board in New York. Many advisory boards have been shaped following our model. We are asked all the time how we have such a successful advisory board, and it's really because of our community. In a nutshell, the reason to have an industry advisory board for a school district is to enhance the education that's going on in our classrooms. And how do you do that? You do that through your CTE departments, which is career and technical education.
Okay, there you go. 'Cause I don't speak public education. So CTE stands for
career and technical education.
Okay, all right.
Which encompasses our business department, our technology department, and family and consumer science, which some people remember as home and economics, which covers a lot of life skills, culinary education, financial education, students that wish to be teachers. We have our own little nursery school that runs, and the students get hands-on experience. And then through the business department, we have so many things that our students can take. You can actually get 42 college credits by taking business courses at Smithtown High School. We are connected to.
Can I say something to that? Because I'm actually a graduate of Smithtown West, and I feel like it was just starting, or it was like more were coming online. And I actually went to Rutgers with 20 credits, which enabled me to never take more. I never had one of those 18 credit semesters. Some semesters I did 12. I could have graduated a half a semester early, but I didn't want to. So, it just gave me like an ability just to like take my time and really enjoy classes.
Not only that, absolutely, you're right about that, but not only that, but if you know you're going to major in business, taking accounting in high school, taking business law, taking marketing, even if you do take those in college, it gives you a leg up. I know myself, when I was in college, I really struggled with accounting. But many of the students that were my friends had accounting in high school. My high school didn't. So here at Smithtown, we have college level accounting, and some schools will waive that. Some, especially SUNY schools, will waive that, so you don't have to take accounting 1. You've already got credit for it.
Amazing.
Or quite honestly, even if you have to take it, it's great because you already have the knowledge and you are able to deal with it better. Which, in college, some of the courses get to be very challenging, and if you have a background in it. And we also have, in addition to accounting and law and marketing and things like that, we have something called virtual enterprise. Virtual enterprise is where they start their own company. And they're responsible, the class as a whole starts a company. And they're responsible for the accounting, for the financial aspect, for the marketing aspect, and for the personnel, HR aspect. So some of our classes are more capstone classes where they're actually putting into use what they've learned in a skills class, such as accounting.
So Mary Pat, I would love to take it up from there, because in my experience working with the IAB, and again, your goal is to connect students to be able to learn and benefit, and for us businesses to also benefit mutually between the two, as we said.
Right.
One of the things that I have noticed, like, correct me if I'm wrong, these classes within the business department, or CTE as you call it, as the greater umbrella, these are electives, right? These aren't part of the core curriculum.
Correct. These are mainly electives. Business is all electives. There is a graduation requirement for technology and family and consumer science, which most students take in middle school.
Okay.
But business, yeah, for the most part, they are electives.
And through my involvement and getting involved here and there over the years, one of the things that I have noticed from graduating from Smithtown and then eventually becoming an entrepreneur myself is that the business department is actually teaching skills and what we call in the industry, in business, what we call soft skills, right? Because you're focusing, like, so far, and you're 100% correct to do this, Mary Pat, to focus on the accounting, the math, the financial, all of that really does matter. How to use a spreadsheet, even. All those things matter, and we can talk about that. One of the things that drew me in was the soft skills, how to communicate better, how to make a presentation, how to take a position. Maybe it's on a business plan, and to get behind it and basically sell that business plan, the idea, to others. And that is the experience. I've talked to a lot of people, Mary Pat, over the years being involved, and when they come back, because one of the things I want to talk about next is the Business Olympics. I think that's amazing. But when some of those people come back for the Business Olympics and they're recent graduates of maybe even college, they talk about how that set them up for success. So this is, even though this isn't an elective, I guess the bottom line I'm trying to get to here is it almost shouldn't be. It almost should be the curriculum.
Right. It should be, I hate to say mandated. That's not really a great word these days. But it would be good if all students were exposed to the CTE classes and what we give them. And going back to the soft skills, you're absolutely right. Everything is embedded in our classwork. Communication skills, teamwork skills, work ethics. That's something that's really important to teach our kids today. The interpersonal skills, as you said, presentation skills. And that's where the Industry Advisory Board comes in as mentors to our DECA students who might have to make presentations as part of their competitions. And as you said, we'll talk a little bit about Business Olympics in a minute, but that is a presentation event and project that had our 25th anniversary. Actually, 2 years ago, we just finished our 26th Business Olympics in 2019. And we had over 200 students involved in that and almost 100 judges from the community. So it is really, it takes a village to run Business Olympics.
It is, and it's so dear to my heart. Business Olympics, can you just describe it really quick? What is it to people watching?
Okay, so every year the business teachers meet in the summer and we come up with a topic for this year's Business Olympics. Many times it's a marketing-based project. They may have to create their own product and sell it to a home shopping network. We've had, and we do try to stay relevant with the times. They had to create either a program or a service, even either an item or a service that was green, that was, environmentally friendly. That was, that was a couple of years ago. We've redesigned Main Street twice.
Yes.
We've done a better job. Yeah, and you know what? The parking lot behind Main Street is actually a result of one of our very first Business Olympics, which was back in the late 90s. And some of the students came up with, well, isn't there room behind the stores if you can't have parking in front of the stores? So like back there off of, behind the banks and things like that. Our students actually worked with the town planning department on that. So I'm very proud of that.
So I've had the opportunity to judge a number of these. And what I've seen is, the students they build their own teams, right? There's usually a number like.
Yes, 3 to 5.
3 to 5, right? Okay, and different age groups too. One of the things that I think is really remarkable, because I've had the opportunity to do multiples, is you'll have sophomore teams of sophomore students, and you see where they're at, and then when they come back, by the time they're seniors, you see their growth. It's incredible, and that's just like I said, it's one of the things I love being involved with. Something else I really appreciate is I've had the opportunity over the last couple of years is you brought me in for DECA. DECA, they have competitions that first go to state, right? Is it local, then state, then
right?
Then
Stop and explain what DECA is.
What is
okay?
DECA is a marketing club. The DECA does not stand for anything at this point. It's a very old, was a very old term. So it's DECA / a marketing club. And it's basically a business club concentrating on marketing, although they have other areas of business involved in it. The students join this club. At this time, with the last couple of years, we have been the largest club in both East and West, with well over 100 students on each side participating in DECA. In addition to DECA, these students are encouraged to be involved in the IAB as student ambassadors. So most of the officers of DECA are our student ambassadors to the IAB. So that shows them the connection and the puzzle pieces starting to fit together of people coming together on the mentor level, which is John David, who comes in and mentors our DECA students. We have from January until March, every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon from 2:15 to about 3:15, any mentor that can come by and work with our students, listen to their presentations, do role plays with them. There's a lot of things that you can do to help them. And what you'll see is starting in January that they're really rough drafts and they're nervous and their talking is, all over the place. Yeah. And by March, they're much better at it. And then they go to states, and states, they win. Usually we have about 25 to 30 students win at the state level, which they go on to nationals after that.
Let me just say, the Smithtown DECA and the business program as a whole is, Mary Pat, you touched on this before, but it is a big deal. The other school districts come to Smithtown to figure out how they do it. It's amazing. And this is just one more example. I have been a mentor before. One of my favorites that comes to mind was this team of students that created, like, for their DECA project was to create finance, like a way to teach finances to kids in, like, what was it, like 4th and 5th grade?
Right. They went down. Right. They went down to the elementary school and did financial literacy for younger students. Yes. That's and they,
if you could start them young. I mean,
and the other thing, we're very connected to junior achievement. And junior achievement, we go down to the elementary schools every year and we teach about community and about awareness of, things that are going on around you. It's kind of closely associated with their social studies units, learning about community, learning about county, learning about state. And we do have the interaction between high school and elementary.
So these students, they create the project, they go out into the community, very often back into our own schools, prove the hypothesis. They bring their slides together, they create the presentation, and then they go and compete on that. And so think about it. if that is one example of one project, and Mary Pat is helping these students, again, with bringing in mentors to polish these things, and we are excelling. Just think about what that is doing for our community as a whole, and that's coming from the students. That's amazing. I applaud you and everything.
We truly believe our Smithtown students are more successful than their counterparts when they go into college and they go into the work world, because they've had these experiences. They have presented in front of adults. Business Olympics, if you make it to the finals, you're in our auditorium presenting to several hundred people at once. The preliminaries are in a classroom with about 7 to 10 judges. And then if you win on that level, you're going to the auditorium 2 hours later. So you don't have a lot of time to transition your thoughts. And it is different in presenting in a small classroom with 10 judges and presenting on a big stage to your counterpart, your colleagues, which are their other students. Their parents come to that, and the judges and the faculty are there. And these kids come back so often and tell us that was such an advantage to them, because in college, they're expected to do presentations almost immediately. And so many kids freak out because they've just never had to do that before.
They say public speaking is right up there with birth, death, and divorce, and it's right up there as like fears. So, greatest fear.
Right, John David? Our kids are not scared.
They take it so seriously, and they rise to the occasion. So to Danielle's point, yes. And look, I was talking about financial literacy. Most people's introduction to financial literacy is when they get when you go to college, you start getting junk mail with credit cards in it, with credit card companies trying to get you to open up that credit card account. And that's it. And you're off and racing and trying to figure it out from there. So for these kids to have this opportunity, like I said, Mary Pat, I've said this so many times to you personally. It brings me joy to be able to say it now to the world. If I would have known, if DECA, if IAB, if everything that you and all the people around you doing such a great job with CTE in the schools, if that was around and robust, I wish I would have discovered it then, because my entrepreneurialism didn't grow until later through different experiences. But my goal, and by having you on, is for any parents out there that weren't really fully aware of this, didn't understand it, or kids that maybe you're in the art school, maybe you're more into arts and music, but I've said this before, there's a place for you there. There's also marketing, there's also presentation. It's a tremendous asset to our district. I don't know how robust it is.
A lot of people out there, though, they go to school and they learn whatever their trade is or whatever their specialty is. And the schools leave out the business part of it. So you could be a phenomenal dentist, a phenomenal chiropractor, a phenomenal realtor. You could be a phenomenal anything. But if you don't have the business skills,
that's right.
Electrician, plumber. If you do not have that, how do you know? So what, Barb, my mom is asking, I'll just say it's my mom, our mom. She's asking, she's a former teacher. So she wants to know, how did the kids get involved?
Well, the kids can get involved in many ways. Any of the students in the school that are interested in being student ambassadors, many of them are taking business classes. So we advertise it in all of our business classes. We encourage any student to become a student ambassador, which helps them with the networking with our advisory board partners, who I might want to mention are from all walks of life and all different types of employers, from hospitals, universities, bankers, lawyers. They run the gamut, absolutely. So no matter what your interest is, you can come to the Career Center. We have a Career Center at both buildings, and I'm the Career Center, groupie. I'm the one that they would come to and find me. I have a wonderful website that puts out information about the different types of jobs. And that'll lead me into a little bit of a discussion about jobs and internships that are available for the students. And we have a unique position in Smithtown that we have so many internships offered to our students who are only high school students. We can rival some of the colleges in what we have to offer because of our industry advisory board and people coming to it and seeing the quality of our students' work and their work ethics. So we've had internships. We had a very big internship years ago, for about 5 years with Citibank. We've had internships with Bridgehampton National Bank for the last few years. And then in addition to that, we have something called CEIPs, which are career exploration internships. And those are very much centered around the learning aspect. And I currently have 22 students that are doing that with St. Catherine's Hospital in the healthcare areas. And we also work with Sloan Kettering and Stony Brook. And they all take our students in to do a variety of shadowing and exploratory internships. And none of this would be possible without the IAB and the connection to all of those people, the 300 people that are on my mailing list at this time.
That's one thing I want to say, Mary Pat, is that you took, as your time in this position, you took it from 150 members, which is still a pretty substantial.
Yeah, I know, it's always big, yeah.
100.
Right. And that's through networking. That's because I belong to the Chamber of Commerce in Smithtown. I belong to the HIA, and I go to many of the HIA meetings. Those are great networking sessions. Stony Brook University.
Everybody doesn't know HIA.
Yeah, that's true. HIA. Yeah, my life runs around acronyms. Amazing resources. And if I send out an email, and John David knows this, I'll send out an email on Monday saying, I need mentors for Thursday afternoon at 2:00. And boom, I've got mentors for Thursday at 2:00 because everybody kind of not only realizes the need to help, but they really enjoy it. I mean, I love listening to John David because he's so enthusiastic about it and how it makes him feel. You know, it makes you as an adult feel good to talk about it. And last but not least is really our careers.
That says something about the program when you can send out an all points bulletin. Please, I need people. And people, like, as businesses, we're all very busy all the time. And people will drop what they're doing to do this. That means that they see value, but not only value, it makes us feel good as being involved. And we feel like we're actually doing something, like we're accomplishing something. You can see the benefit. You can see the kids grow, not even kids, like young men and women growing. I mean, look, I could talk to you about this all day. You even have an MBA program for the business department. That's incredible.
And
you can, what?
And a PhD, and they get a PhD too.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we just did that, and we were able to do the whole thing virtually this year. So we had about 70 kids participate. But that brings me to the business etiquette dinner. I'm not sure if you had a chance to attend one of those, John David. But
we bought tables.
That's right. You've sponsored tables. We have a business etiquette dinner every year where we have an etiquette speaker come in and prepare our students for the real world. And they come in their suits and their business clothing, and they learn how to eat properly. They learn how to network properly over dinner. Because let's face it, that's the way of the future. A lot of online interviews now, a lot of over lunch or dinner interviews are happening, and we are preparing our students for the real world. So at this point,
I was going to ask you how IAB is going to adjust for, I think you're just as important now as ever, because you can talk to people like us, entrepreneurs, small businesses, and even the medium and large businesses, how we're making the adjustments so that you can take that information and translate it to the students.
This year, more than ever, it's going to be very important to have the support of the IAB so that they do keep the programs that we have, so that we don't lose these elective type programs, and the support of the community in the process of all of the problems that we're having in the world. And I think it's very important for people who are interested in the well-being of our future and our future workforce to get involved. One of the things that we're working on are more remote type internships where we can do a Zoom call. A student can do a Zoom call with you, and then maybe you give him or her a project to do for you, and they work at home.
We'd be interested in.
John, I think you've done that before. Didn't you work with Jonathan Jacobs several years ago and did something similar to that, right?
Yes, a few of the students, yes.
Yeah.
We're doing everything. We're doing so much through Zoom now. So it's such a easy dovetail. So
Absolutely.
One more thing. I have one final question, because we've been talking about the students and the existing businesses that have been involved. If you've been watching this, and if somebody's been watching this and they are a business of any size in the community, how do they get involved?
All they have to do is go to our website, which is very simple. It's www.smithtown.iab.org. They can contact me via the school address, which thank you. And my school address, if anybody is familiar with emailing teachers, which they probably all are these days, it's the first letter of your first letter and your last name, M. Grafstein, at the smithtown.k12.ny.us. So that's, it's a long one, but everybody's getting used to emailing teachers now. So
one of our favorites was on Tuesday, Krista from Peter Pitt, which just said she would love to get involved and she will be reaching out.
Oh, fantastic.
Great energy.
I saw before Mike Myers wrote, "Hi, Mrs. There he is, Mrs. Grafstein. Hi. Mike Myers is a former student of mine." Hi, Mike. And he was very involved in the business department, extremely involved, and very successful today, and had his roots in Smithtown. And that's what we're finding, which is so exciting to me, is that now so many of our IAB members are students that benefited from these programs, that did a Business Olympics. Last year, I think we had about 15 people that had actually participated in Business Olympics in their former life and are now out in the business world and have come back they're not allowed to come back as judges until they're actually out in the world working.
Oh, I love that.
And they love that. They love being on the other side of the table. And the same thing with DECA mentoring. They had DECA mentors, and they pay it forward by coming back and mentoring.
I really want to point to that, though, and I think it's such a testament to the work that you do, is that people do come back and they do pay it forward. And through this program, like, everybody in Smithtown needs to fight for this program, because it is the real world actual program that helps our children. Our children complain all the time. Well, why do I need to know this? I'm never going to use this. Why do I need to know this? I'm never going to use this. And you know what? Sometimes they're right. But on this,
I don't really.
And the good thing is, and the good thing is our kids do realize it. When they do the speed networking and the speed interviewing, we usually have 30 people speed interviewing, and they get to go 5 times. So, but between the first time and the 5th time, they're interviewing for the same position with a different person. They've perfected. They've listened to suggestions from the first 3 people. And then the greatest part of my job is when they come up to me in the hallway the next day and say, I loved that. That is something I can use. I have an interview next week and now I feel more confident in going in. So anything we do, we try to make sure it's a positive real life experience for them.
Mary Pat, like you said, we've talked about a couple times already about how other districts, other places come to Smithtown to ask, how do you guys do it? And I think to a large extent, you know, you can share best practices and things like that. But what it really comes down to are the people involved, how much they care, their level of expertise, how much, you know, you live this, you embody this. I mean, I'm sorry, but a lot of the success is you and the people around you, the other people. There's other people, and if you want to give them shout outs, go right ahead. But I wanted to talk to you because it's people like you in our community that bring this. You are a force. I am so glad to have been able to have this conversation with you. And I appreciate that so much. It is a group effort, though. It does take a village. I would like to give a shout out to Lenore Paprocki, who is with Synergy Wealth and Lenore Rose Consulting. And she is my business chairperson for the IAB. And then, of course, our CTE director, Christine Lofries, extremely involved in this, brings in all three of the departments, and we work together hand in hand to make sure that not only the three CTE departments, but all of our high school students have a good experience and have an opportunity to take advantage of these things. And then, of course, all of the business, family and consumer, and technology teachers who all belong to the Industry Advisory Board, who come tirelessly to the meetings, who work with our students to reinforce. And I think in closing, I would just like to say, if anybody is interested in joining IAB, we would love to have you. The whole thing in a nutshell is it's a way to enhance the education going on in our classrooms. And all you need is a willingness to work with our students. There is no fee to join, no real commitment other than, you know, wanting to give back to our students. And if you can only come to one event a year, that's fine. If you can come every week or every month, that's fine too. But there's no strings attached. Mary Pat, I would like, in closing, it may technically be an elective, but at least for my two boys, it won't be.
Okay, we look forward to seeing them in our CTE classes and getting them on and as DECA members, as well as student ambassadors. I see two future entrepreneurs coming through our program, that's for sure. Yeah. And, you know, that's another testimony to IAB. A lot of the parents have gotten involved in IAB either through their kids or their kids have gotten involved through their parents. Yeah. So, it works both ways. Sometimes the parents know about us, but the kids don't. Sometimes the kids know about us, and I say, what does your mom or dad do for a living? Okay, you go home. I want to talk to them. You know,
always be networking. Always be networking. Always prospecting. Always networking.
Right, networking is possible, and I'm lucky. I have the perfect storm. I've lived in Smithtown for 40 years. I grew up. I grew up in Texas actually, but I basically grew up in Smithtown from my adult years, and brought up 3 kids in this district who are all very involved in the CTE programs. And, I live in Smithtown. I eat out in Smithtown. And my kids will tell you I'm very annoying to go out with because I run into everybody and anybody. And I tell them the same things I just told you guys, the benefits of being a part of it. So I hope this encourages some people to give us a call, email us, go on our website, and to join us in the future, because it is something that our community is known for. And the partnerships that we have gathered over the years have been invaluable to all of us. So thank you to all of you who help us.
Thank you, Mary Pat, for being with us today. We look forward to helping you protect what you've built.
Thanks. I hope so. Thank you. We'll work together.
You're brilliant, and everything that you do is completely appreciated. So,
thank you.
Having you on today. We love having you on today, and we love having inspiring stories like this.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Okay, if you're watching and you missed any of the links we shared on today's episode, don't worry. They'll be added to the show description if they're not there already. And we look forward to connecting with more people who are supporting our community. Stay healthy, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Pat. Bye.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks. Bye-bye.